Hello and welcome back to this Actor Thomas video with me, of course, Actor Thomas. Now today I thought I'd do a video of something that got released, well, the news got released this week. And that was the title of the new Star Wars film, Star Wars Episode 9, called A Rise of Skywalker. Now, the Rise of Skywalker. Don't like it. Not gonna lie. Don't like it. It's a bit odd, considering all the rest of them have been, something. Like The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, A Force Awakens, The Last Jedi. There's something about those titles which the Rise of Skywalker just doesn't really bounce for me. But we have a couple of months now until the film comes out, and between now and then, I may be sold on that title, and if I am, I'm sure I'll be making a video when that has happened, and I will be standing here saying, that's the best title, the best Star Wars title ever imaginable. Cannot believe it's anything else than that. I'm sure it will probably happen. But at this moment, as of the 14th of April 2019, I'm not impressed. I'm not really. It's the fact that we know that Luke, the last Skywalker, or the last titled Skywalker, is dead. He will, of course, appear in Force Ghosts and all that sort of stuff, which, fair enough, I'll accept. But I'm really not sold on the idea that this is somehow going to be the turning of Kylo Ren back into Ben Solo. I really don't. I don't see that. It's something that doesn't make me happy. But anyway, like I say, I really hope it's a good film. I really do. The one thing about this film that I'm slightly concerned about is that J.J. Abrams is back in charge. I've got nothing against J.J. Abrams. I really don't. The only problem I have with it is obviously he had ideas that he wanted to take on to The Last Jedi. When obviously his first film was The Force Awakens, he wanted to maybe carry on a couple of story points onto The Last Jedi that the new director didn't. And obviously those got left behind and they've never been picked up. So the idea now that potentially he's going to come back in and basically almost completely wipe away The Last Jedi concerns me quite a lot, because I don't want that to happen. I really don't want that to happen, because I think that film, even though it has its flaws, and it does, The Last Jedi does have its flaws. I'm not going to say that it doesn't, because it certainly does. But it's a decent film. It's an okay Star Wars film. It really is. It tells a story that I didn't really want to have to watch, but every time I have watched it since, it's okay. I don't think, oh God, I'm going to regret watching this when I'm putting the DVD into the player. It's like that. But I have a sneaking suspicion what's going to happen is J.J. Abrams is going to basically pick up all the points that he wanted to carry on from The Force Awakens and basically finish them off in this new film, which I can understand, but at the same time completely wipe out The Last Jedi, which I really hope he doesn't. Now, a few things that we need to talk about. Obviously, Lando Calrissian will be back in this film, which I'm looking forward to, because he's quite a cool character. Obviously, he was in Episode 5 and 6, and of course, then he got reintroduced in a solo story, which was good. It was a great way of seeing a young younger version of that character, and obviously now we're going to see how he has progressed from what he was like in episode 5 and 6 to what he will be like now in episode 9, and hopefully we'll be able to pick up a bit more of his in between lives, between those 30 years or however many years it is within the comics. So that will be very cool. I'm looking forward to that. But like I say, whatever happens, I really looking forward to watching this film. Even though I'm not a fan of the title, you know, like there's a lot of films out there that are superb films, but the title lets them down. And I'm sure it's going to be a good film. You know, it is a Star Wars film. You have so many of these characters out there, and so many people that watch these films, love these films, and want to get involved in these films. Of course it's going to be good. It's just going to have to make me forget what it's called. I just need to try and keep it in the back of my mind. This is a Star Wars film, but it's also not called The Rise of Skywalker, which just doesn't sound right. Come on. Now, there's other things we need to talk about, of course. You've got the Emperor coming back. That's going to be cool. How? Don't know. Obviously, there's been stories in the Legends backlog, which have had him... I don't know if he's actually properly returned, but I know there's been a couple of clones. There's been a couple of clones of him. I can't remember if he was actually returned or not. I know one of the few things I really wanted to happen, which I'm quite disappointed hasn't happened, is that they haven't cloned Anakin. So like a younger version of Anakin. And just imagining what would have happened if the fight on Mustafar never happened, and Anakin grew up, got older outside of the Darth Vader suit. That I think that would be really cool, and I honestly think the guy who played him, Hayden, what's his name? Anyway, you can tell me. Him. I reckon he would come back to play that, because I actually honestly think he's moved on. He's got enough experience now as an actor, and he's now grown up enough to be able to play a lot more that character needs, especially now that obviously he's moved. He'll have gone past that point of losing his wife, not the loss of his, at least the child, and he would have just he would be that dark side user as he is as Darth Vader in that suit, but he would still be powerful as Anakin was, which I would really have loved to have seen. So I'm slightly disappointed that they're using the Emperor instead of Anakin in that. Obi-Wan Kenobi, it would be cool to see Ewan McGregor attempt, or someone else, or even do, the face recognition thing that they've done in Rogue One with Tarkin and Princess Leia. Just imagine them doing that with old Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope. That would be pretty cool to see. Of course it would. It would be great. Yoda also be pretty cool. Again, all of these people that are so integral to the Star Wars saga. And it just seemed, and like I say, it would have been cool, because obviously we've never really truly found out what Snoke's deal was, really, did we? Unless I missed something. But in that film, in The Last Jedi, there was a burning question that I wanted to find out. What the hell was going on? What was his deal? had he been there since, had he been involved, with stuff even before Phantom Menace. Because if that had been true, then that would be wicked. The idea that it wasn't really the Emperor that was pulling the strings, it was someone completely different. That, I think, would be wicked. And it would just be nice to actually have a good ending to that, because that was one of the big things that made me disappointed in that film, was the fact that we didn't get that. Like I say, I would have preferred to have had Anakin instead of the Emperor, because I think the Emperor's really got used up. He can't. I think he's of course he's a good villain, of course he is, but he's not that imposing figure that you would need. And even as Anakin, Darth Vader is an imposing figure. Like, you see him in the Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and he is an imposing sort of character. Even that, when he gets angry, he fills a room. So I think it would have been very interesting to see how that would have worked even if you did it in The Last Jedi, which I think they should have done. Is the idea of introduce Anakin as Snoke's kind of apprentice, basically, and see what how different it would have been under these two very different rulers. You had the Emperor in the original trilogy, you've got Snoke in the sequel trilogy. It would have been very interesting. Like I say, I just think it would have been cool to have found out what was going on, because I think Anakin, even though the character himself got returned to the light side at the end, and that was brilliant, of course it was, but you just have to sort of think it would just been interesting to have gone a full circle again and see that this is something, just a thought that was going on in my head. Completely rubbish, I know, but for me it would have been quite cool to see. Like I say, obviously it's going to be sad to know that this film was basically kind of cut together by scenes that were not used from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi concerning Princess Leia, or General Organa. Which is a shame, because obviously it's a shame that Carrie Fisher did pass away. I hope it's a good ending for her character. I really hope it is. I think it would be a massive shame if that character dies in not a very good way. In many ways, a bit like Luke did from The Last Jedi. I was quite disappointed in the way his death happened. Like, the idea that he's meant to have been this very powerful Jedi individual, and he, without actually any, what's the word, any wounds or any attack or anything like that, he dies. Like, the fact that he wasn't physically there, you can tell for a fact he's not physically there, because there isn't grey in his hair or his beard. That's a disappointing thing in my opinion anyway. So for that character, I think that's a disappointment that happened in that film. So I really hope that doesn't happen. I think the only really heartfelt death that's happened in Star Wars in the new sequel trilogy is Han. I think that, to me, obviously I know it's completely echoing the death of Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope. I fully understand that, and that's the only problem, is that because you could tell, soon as you could see him walking out onto that walkway, you could tell he's going to die. You knew that for a fact. So that wasn't a shock. when he did die. But the way he was killed, the fact who he killed him, that's what made it really mean something. Because all he wants to do is turn his son back to the light side. That's all he wants. And in many ways, you can tell, in the way I'm reading it anyway, particularly, is that through that actions, Kylo Ren has started to turn. He was turning slowly all the way through The Last Jedi, and obviously he will turn completely, and he'll be on the light side by the end of the Rise of Skywalker, which is, that's fair enough. I fully accept that. Of course it is, but I just think the fact that you got the three main characters from the original trilogy, each one of them's going to die at the end of each one of these films, and it just seems a bit rushed. In many ways, it would have been better if you almost completely ignored the fact of these, kind of, if Harrison Ford didn't want to return, maybe not, suggest that he, him and Chewie did piss off, and him and Leia haven't seen each other in 10 years or whatever it may be, and that would be it. I think that would have been a better way, instead of killing him off in a way that is, like I said, spectacular, but has also started off this trend in which now Luke has unfortunately died in quite a disappointing way, like I said, and Leia, I can only imagine there's, it's going to be some kind of rehash, potentially, of what the potential death of her would have been in The Last Jedi, when the ship blew up and she was going through space. Now, of course, I don't know. Obviously, this is me completely speculating. I have no idea. This is all my just own conjecture. But I just really, really hope that she gets a decent send-off. I think it's the only right and fair thing that the films can do for that character, is to give her a decent farewell. Because obviously it's not as if they can ever kind of make a film saying, oh, that's not really what happened. It's, that was all that's all made up kind of thing. This is the actual real thing, because obviously she's died. So they can't do that. But I really hope that they treat it right, and they treat it with respect. The one thing I will say is, I'm pleased they've stopped this supposed love thing that was going to go on with Finn and Rey. Really pleased about that. Never saw that as a real relationship that could potentially go forward at all. The other thing from the last film, of course, with Finn and what's her name, Rose? Is it Rose? Her, that relationship, potentially give that a little bit more, because I felt as if it was shoehorned in to that film, and it felt very rushed, like a lot. That's the only one thing I have to say about these films, is a lot of things that they want the audience to feel or have a big effect on the audience always feel very rushed. I've noticed that about these new films. Everything does seem a lot more rushed than the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. So I hope a lot of the things that they want to build up to does get a conclusion, and I hope it's done, like I said, I hope it's done correctly. Anyway, that's a few of my thoughts about what my opinions were of the last two Star Wars films and the new Star Wars film that's coming out later on this year. If you have any, if I've kind of made any points that you agree with or you completely disagree with, if you want to, you can leave a comment down below and we can maybe have a bit of a chat, who knows. Like I say, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave a like, a comment, a subscribe. If you want, you can become one of my patrons. The link is down below. And as always, I shall give you a little salute and say goodbye until next week. Goodbye.